Like many of my friends at the moment, I am graduating high school, which for me means moving away from home for university. I'm fortunate enough to call both New Zealand and Malaysia my home, but for various reasons. I consider New Zealand home because it was where I was born and where my passport is from, but I consider Malaysia home because it is where my parents are and where I've spent the past 13 out of my 18 years. Because I consider both home, I thought the move back to New Zealand would be easy, but it hasn't been. For me, I'm moving to a country almost completely unfamiliar to me in terms of buildings, people, and culture. To put it into perspective, let me introduce you to the country I know best, Malaysia. As a kid, moving to Malaysia didn't seem like a big deal. I mean, I had my toys, I still had my parents. What more could a 3-year-old want? But now that I'm 18, I'm moving to a country I haven't lived in for almost 13 years, and I'm worried about it. But it made me wonder, do other people fret over going home? So I decided to ask a few of my friends and teachers how they felt when going home.
I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
I'm from India.
I'm from Bangladesh.
I'm from Canada and Australia.
I'm from India originally.
I am from the United States in the Seattle area.
I think maybe like the atmosphere. A lot of different looking people, different languages. You hear, there's different smells. Yeah.
It feels quite different because mainly when I lived in Minsk, Belarus, there wasn't very much people of color per se. It was just white people. So I grew up mostly with like the Belarusian/Russian culture, but when I came back I'd have to adapt to the Muslim culture there, the more Bangladeshi culture in Bangladesh, and also the weather.
Malaysia, I would say, is pretty inclusive of most traditions and holidays. So for me, like Diwali or Holi and stuff are still celebrated here. So I wouldn't have particularly brought anything new into Malaysia.
Yeah, it does, because it's very different there. It's a lot more Western.
I think it feels different going home from being overseas because I'm different, and so many of my friends and the places are the same. So while it feels different, I think it's because I am, and sometimes it's hard for my friends maybe, or my family to understand how complex it can be for you to gain all of these new experiences. And it's sometimes what feels different about going home is that they haven't changed with me. And sometimes we miss each other a little bit.
Well, I fit in the sense of language, I fit in the sense of culture, I fit in the sense of little idiosyncrasies of what makes us to be who we are when we're there. In jokes, little things that have to do with the way we look at the world and our own values and our own emotions, I would say. It's interesting to see that with friendships, it looks as if we have never left. So we certainly fit in that area. In the larger context of Argentina itself, it's getting harder and harder to fit in.
For me, New Zealand is a complete deviation of what I know in Malaysia, but it's not a bad thing. The people around me and the people who are important to me won't disappear when I move away, and I'll see them again someday. And when I do, it'll be like I never left, because human connection does not rely solely on location. So although moving from home to home scares me, it's just another step in the journey, and the best thing I can do is embrace the ambiguity of my future and enjoy it, and treat New Zealand like the big, exciting adventure that it will be.